Hello everybody, welcome to part 2 of the Power of Love series, I guess. Earlier this week, I explained the power of love, and now I want to correlate this power to Sanji. More specifically, I want to show you guys why I believe Sanji, bear with me when I say this, his Conquerors Haki could be related to the power of love. If you haven't seen the previous video, go check that out because it may seem like I'm diving into things very quickly. And by the way guys, if you guys want to see the next video after this, the spicy one that's going to get a lot of people mad, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. Firstly, I find it kind of strange, and maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's not, but the people who actively use the power of love, such as Garb and Boa Hancock, are Conquerors Haki users. You can even include Whitebeard as well, since his whole dream was to have a family and get strong so that he could protect them, and as he was dying, he thanks his sons for being a part of his family. I'm not like that, all he ever wanted was love at the end of the day. I'm not saying that the only way you can use the power of love is if you have Conquerors Haki, but depending on how deeply love is intertwined with your character, I feel like it's a huge sign of possessing the power. Now I want to explain to you guys why it makes sense for the power of love to have correlations to what we know to be Haki. So again, I firstly want to mention that I find it funny that Kaido says Haki transcends all, and that's the same type of definition we get for love as well, or portrayal we get for love. With Sanji saying love blows everything else away, Gaban saying love holds no bounds, and yeah, that's just something I want to point out real quick to you guys. Haki roughly in some translations translates to spirits, though think of it as strength of someone's will or willpower. That's how everyone knows it, and that's the easiest way to think about it. I'm not going to go into the definition of Haki. You guys have been reading the show for 20 years, you know what that is. A brain-dead Kuma was somehow able to make his way to Egghead after his body was being terrorized and destroyed along the way by Akainu, and by fodder marines shooting at him going up the Grand Line or the Red Line, so his body was pretty bad. When designing Kuma, Vegapunk put a switch in his body so that he shouldn't be able to move or act on any free will. That switch was activated, word to Vegapunk, and his body should have been a complete vegetable and shut down, as Vegapunk said. There was no scientific explanation for this. In fact, Vegapunk says this could just be the power of love, which what was portrayed to us in this moment. Kuma went across the world, defying all logic with his missing body parts and a dysfunctional body in order to save his daughter from getting killed. Vegapunk also states that he shouldn't have any free will, but somehow he was able to use Haki as a cyborg who lost his mind and also should be basically dead, word to Vegapunk once again. So the only explanation is that his will was so strong that it somehow overcame his cyborg body, him essentially being in a dead state and apparently having no free will. Now we gotta ask ourselves, why was his will so strong? Well, it's pretty obvious. It was because of his love he shared for his daughter, making him do the impossible under any circumstance for the sake of love, giving him the strength of the power of love. A part of the reason why Luffy is so strong and his Haki is so strong is the fact that his willpower is insane. No circumstances can break Luffy's will to achieve what he wants to protect and who he wants to protect. The fact that Luffy can lose 5 times in a row, get his ass beat and nearly die, it doesn't stop him from fighting. It's the same concept with Kuma, but the only difference is that with Luffy, it's mainly, not all the time, for his ambition. But for Kuma, it's for the sake of love. Power of love is to make the impossible possible. It holds no bounds and blows everything away. Only Haki can transcend all. These both translate to your willpower being able to overcome anything. How strongly do you love is the question, and how strongly do you want to achieve your goals is the question. The stronger you feel about both of those things, there's nothing that can stand in your way. Just think about it like this. Love is just a different emotion tied to Haki rather than ambition. Like I said, it's most likely the case that the ones who have the most love inherited and portrayed in their character could most likely have Conquerors Haki. Even if you don't want to believe Haki is connected to the power of love, we know for almost a fact that it probably is for Sanji, since his observation Haki is linked to his love for women. In Elbaf, he's able to sense the entire island for Robin with his female radar. In Egghead, he's able to find Bonnie in the midst of chaos due to his obsession and love for women. Okay, not with Bonnie particularly, like that's a different kind of relationship. And the most important one was when he was the only one able to sense women in danger while running with the Jinbei and Luffy, who both have observation Haki. To the point where Luffy even believes that his observation Haki needs work because he didn't sense what Sanji did, showing you that even though the power of love works exactly like Haki, it's a different application linked to it rather than just ambition. Sanji's power of love is manifesting the same applications as regular Haki, but it's fueled by love. What I find also hilarious is that Nami using her fist of love to damage Luffy was mistaken as Conquerors Haki by Jinbei. Obviously this doesn't mean Nami has Conquerors Haki, but like I said, Jinbei's only rational thought of Nami doing the impossible by damaging Luffy using her fist of love had to be Conquerors Haki, making the impossible possible, Haki transcending all, making the correlations between the two. Now how do we apply what we just talked about with Sanji? Well, Sanji is a very interesting character, and the way his powers work isn't really logical, and all just depends on his emotions. We already know that he can do the impossible with the power of love. We've seen it several times throughout One Piece, but we also know this from how his Diable Jambe and his flames work. Sanji's flames seem to be linked to his anger, and they get hotter and engulf more of him depending on the level of passion or anger he has in the moment. The more angrier he gets, or the more passionate Sanji gets in a scenario, his flames will burn hotter. This is a fact stated by Sanji when he was fighting Jabra, and also stated by Sanji when he was fighting Queen. Now when Sanji gets worked up due to his loved ones being hurt, his flames don't necessarily get hotter, since that emotion is linked to his anger and his passion. Well, most of the time. There might be a few instances where it kind of intertwines, because if you love someone and you see them get hurt, you're gonna get angry too, but it's not necessarily the thing that's emphasized when he's using the power of love. Instead, as we're seeing recently, he tends to have his persona switch to a more sinister version of himself. In most cases, his eyebrow even switches as well. In these cases where his love emotion is involved, he gets a strength boost befitting the scenario. So wouldn't it make sense, similar to how his anger or his passion strengthens Sanji's flames? Love, which we discussed is probably linked to your haki, makes in a way his haki stronger because it makes him do the impossible, and love and haki are portrayed to transcend and overcome anything. Sanji's already an anomaly, like his fighting style is based on his emotions. For his passion to be linked to his flames, the power of love, which I explained has correlations to haki, could also work in a similar way, where the more you love someone, the more his haki will strengthen. By those correlations, this could mean that Sanji's level of haki could get stronger depending on the love and the scenario he feels. And we'll talk more why that could make sense with this next matchup. Sanji versus Saint Summers. Why I'm saying this matchup is going to happen is because Sanji's power of love, I believe, is going to be tested in elbaf against Saint Summers. If you don't believe Sanji will fight this guy, let me introduce you to this collage right here. Upon Saint Summers' introduction in elbaf, he's been portrayed as a character whose whole ideology and view on stuff is related to love. Specifically, the two panels in the middle and the bottom all highlight quotes he made regarding love. But what makes this matchup basically inevitable is based on his powers. You guessed it, they revolve around love. He has thorns that punish someone the more you love them. So his power is the ultimate test for the power of love. Is it possible for love to overcome something that completely counters love is the question. The answer will probably be yes. Time and time again, that's what's been the main theme with this power. No matter what obstacle you face, love can overcome anything. And the greatest reputation of someone being able to do that will be with Sanji, as he's our main advocate for this power and will be the strongest user with the power when it's all said and done. Now how this ties into Conquerors Haki, you can probably already tell. Sanji was able to defy the powers of a devil fruit with the power of love pre-time skip when he was a zombie soldier. The power of love overcame the effects of the devil fruit to where he didn't fully obey his master. Similar scenario to this, but it can't be that easy for Sanji to do this time around. For one, he's facing a seriously strong character, and Summer's powers can't be overcome easily with the standard power of love, I'm assuming, since it's built to negate the power of love. So Sanji will need an immense representation of the power of love to make this make sense and believable. I believe that representation will be his Conquerors Haki. It would make sense that the manifestation of love, or your will, is how you negate his thorns, because if that wasn't the case, then he would be in... Oh my god, I hope I did that thing with Invincible in this moment. If I remember, please remember, I'm keeping this in the video. There has to be a counter to his power. And for being honest, Haki should be what it is. Or should I say the love aspect linked to your Haki. Kinda how Big Mom and Kaido's Haki was too strong for Law's Devil Fruit ability Shambles to work on them. Hey, they were both conquerors as well, by the way, just putting that out there. I believe the showcasing of Sanji's Conquerors Haki manifesting from the power of love will be too strong for Summer's thorns to work as he nullifies the fruit with his Conquerors Haki, allowing Oda to portray once again his theme of love conquering all to the greatest degree with Sanji. For those who believe Sanji will get Conquerors Haki, you really gotta buy into something like this, because Sanji will ever only showcase Conquerors Haki defending someone he loves. Similar to Luffy showcasing it in Marineford, so Ace doesn't die. He just had a crazy outburst because his brother was about to die and he just tapped into it. With Sanji's character, it's most befitting that he unlocks it in a moment where he can't save a woman he loves. I believe that moment could probably happen with Saint Summers.